Hello, so it's my audience in person, and the rest is my audience on Zoom. Can you show George a little more, Uncle Ted, if you don't? Yeah, perfect. Have you ever wondered how it would feel if you had a family member or yourself, if you were experiencing hunger and went to bed constantly hungry due to a food insecurity or because you were living in poverty? Unfortunately, Jessica Wall, in a 2019 article, Feeding America uses AI to find the face of hunger. Food insecurity can be hard to recognize, but a new campaign makes it easier. Published by Crane Communications points out, quote, the latest statistic is that 1 in 9 people are hungry. Previously, the figure from the government, and often mentioned by Feeding America and other organizations, was 1 in 8. Thus, more and more Americans are facing hunger. So, Feeding America is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to end hunger in America, and they partner with more than 200 food banks nationwide. And it is a great way to volunteer for one to give back to the community, since it requires many volunteers. So many of us likely know families who struggle to put food on the table on a daily basis. And that is obviously very, very concerning. And people should volunteer at a food bank or a food pantry to ensure that no American goes hungry. And I have volunteered at food banks and food pantries at the past. And I have volunteered at the Northern Illinois Food Bank, which is a network of Feeding America, at the South Suburban Center here in Joliet. I've helped sort and package canned goods, which were later distributed to people in need. To begin, I will discuss how Feeding America achieves its mission in ending hunger in America. So, Feeding America has been in existence since 1979, and they have fought hard to end hunger in America. And so on Feeding America's website, in their Hunger in America section, it includes the alarming statistic, which was published in 2020, quote, according to the USDA's latest household food insecurity, the United States reports more than 35 million people in the United States that experienced hunger in 2019. And that is, let alone, almost the entire population of California. I mean, that is frightening. Americans, it is equivalent almost to the most populous state in the United States, and that's just insane. The 2019 report, which was published in 2020 by Feeding America on their website, under the Annual Reports and Financial section by Claire Babineau-Fontenay and Gary Rodkin, and they reported that, quote, during our first year of operations in 1979, we distributed more than 3.9 million pounds of food from a rented warehouse. This year, with your support, we helped provide 4.2 billion meals through a robust network of food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. Feeding America's mission to end hunger in America is vital, which is fulfilled through the contributions of many people, in addition to the thousands of volunteers. So in Feeding America's 2020 annual report, which is published in 2021, again by Gary Rodkin and Claire Babineau-Fontenay, and it's found on Feeding America's website under, again, the Annual Reports and Financial section. It illustrates Feeding America's success during the COVID-19 pandemic. Quote, your support enabled network members to help provide nearly 5.2 billion meals to help people facing hunger. 40% of whom, due to the pandemic, were seeking charitable food assistance for the first time in their lives. Volunteering at a food pantry, it is also a great way for one to serve their community. And volunteers aren't only required in order for a food pantry or food bank to operate, but again, it's also a great way for one to serve their community. There are more people than you realize facing hunger from my experience serving in a food pantry, and it is frightening, and it's honestly, it's very, very sad. And so in the article, U.S. faces shortage of up to 8 billion meals in the next 12 months. Reading Food Bank emphasizes, quote, and volunteerism continues to be weighed down. A model says in a normal year, Greater Boston Food Bank has more than 24,000 volunteers, about 460 each week. Now she says they get about 100 to 150 per week. And that's just, that's just not going to cut it, because food banks, they rely on volunteers. They're all ran by volunteers. And so my experience volunteering has been eye-opening, and it has contributed to my desire to want to be in an occupation where I help people. And after volunteering at a food bank, you just makes you feel accomplished because you've done something great for the community. And also, although if you do not want to volunteer at a food pantry or food bank, you can always donate your time and money, like Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, did in his article, article titled "Trouble Posed Quaternary for Nonprofits," published in 2021 by Chronicle Education Hiring Company, depicts Bezos' philanthropic contribution to help fight hunger during the COVID-19 pandemic. It states, quote, Bezos' Earth Fund $10 billion to establish environmental great maker, Feeding America $100 million for its COVID-19 response fund. As you can see, volunteering at a food bank or a food pantry can make you feel accomplished, and it benefits the people facing hunger and increases in food insecurities in your local community. So, right after this, immediately after this speech, you can go on Google and just do a Google search, food pantries and food banks near me, and you can find one near you. I guarantee you there's one, probably a couple, in the Joliet area, within 10 miles, for you to volunteer at, and it's just very, rewarding. You just feel it, and then it also helps in the hunger crisis in America. So, please do a Google search, get involved, or you can always go to Feeding America's website and just find a local food bank near you that's partners with Feeding America, and just volunteer and just serve the less fortunate and the people facing hunger in your community. Thank you. This is my audience. Thank you. Who was I?